All right. All right, well, good morning, everyone. And thank you all to all of the media outlets that are represented here. We really appreciate you all coming out to this press conference that was requested by the family of Stephanie Dantzler and Shanice and Miranda Dantzler-Williams. Three beautiful women who lost their lives, unfortunately, on Mother's Day 2 years ago. And so I want to say we appreciate you all for coming out today in the media. And I stand here today with the family, with the mother, Mrs. Betty Simmons, and also and grandmother to Shanice and Miranda, and Shanice and Miranda's father, Mr. Randall McWilliams, and the brothers here, Darren and Eric, Stephanie's brothers, and Shanice and Miranda's uncles. Okay? So I have a prepared statement that I'm going to read, and after that, then Mrs. Simmons is going to speak, and also the brothers. I'm not sure whether Eric and Darren are going to speak, either one or both, but they're going to speak also. And after that, if there's anybody else that might want to make comment, the floor will be open. All right? So let me start with the prepared statement. Again, I'm Pastor Thomas Dixon, and community advocate. That's the best that I can say about myself, somebody that stands with people who need an extra voice. On Mother's Day, May 8th, 2022, 3 African-American women were killed on U.S. Highway 17 when Charleston County Sheriff's Deputy Emily Pelletier ran through a stop sign at an excessive rate of speed at the intersection of Highway 17 and New Road, and she was responding to a non-emergency call in her service vehicle. That night, at around 10:55 p.m., while driving home after spending the day celebrating Mother's Day together, 53-year-old Stephanie Dantzler and her 2 daughters, 28-year-old Shanice and 22-year-old Miranda Dantzler-Williams, they died at the scene when the car they were driving southbound on U.S. Highway 17 was T-boned by Deputy Pelletier. The resulting investigation determined that Deputy Pelletier was racing at the time with another Charleston County Sheriff's Deputy, Clinton Sachs, to see who could respond to the scene of this non-emergency call first. In the immediate aftermath of this tragedy, Deputy Pelletier remained free on paid administrative leave for nearly 5 weeks. On Friday, June 10, 2022, Deputy Pelletier was terminated from her position with the Charleston County Sheriff's Office, taken into custody, and went to bond court, where a $25,000 per victim bond was set by a judge. Now, I want you all to pay attention to what I just said. That day, Emily Pelletier, the former Charleston County Sheriff's Deputy, who was responsible for the death of 3 innocent women, was booked into the L. Cannon Detention Center at 1:45 p.m. in the afternoon. She went to court not long after arriving and was bonded out of jail within a few hours of her arrest. That does not happen. And she remains free on bond to this day, over 2 years later. As far as we know, Deputy Clinton Sachs was never disciplined in this tragedy, although he faced a 1-week suspension without pay in early 2023 after committing 11 policy violations in 31 days between December 31st, 2022 and January 31st, 2023. Those policy violations included failing to follow safety protocols during traffic stops, failing to file reports, making crude comments to civilians, and driving in excessive speeds of 100 miles an hour while not responding to a call. Later that year, on May 12, 2023, Deputy Clinton Sachs voluntarily resigned from the Charleston County Sheriff's Office and was hired 4 days later by the Charleston County Aviation Authority's Law Enforcement Division. Now, a lot of that sounds like the focus of this has to do with the arrest of Emily Pelletier, but the reality is that we are not here about the Charleston County Sheriff's Department. So everything that I've said brings us to the reason why we are here today. Not long after Emily Pelletier's arrest on June 10th, 2022, Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson met with Mrs. Betty Simmons, the mother of Stephanie Dantzler and the grandmother of Shanice and Miranda Dantzler-Williams, and her two sons, Darren and Eric. And she assured them that they would have a direct line of communication to her for information relating to the tragic and unnecessary death of their loved ones. Solicitor Wilson said they were free to call her anytime. And that was the last time this family heard from Solicitor Scarlett Wilson. Here we are, 2 years later, 28 months later, over 100 weeks later, and with the family calling her office and leaving messages, Solicitor Wilson has yet to honor her promise of an open line of communication. No one, not this mother, nor these brothers, nor this father, nor anyone else in this family knows anything about what's going on with this case, other than the fact that the Charleston County Sheriff's deputy responsible for the deaths of their loved ones is still on the streets and has not been taken to court, and justice has not been served in the deaths of their family members, Stephanie Dantzler and her two daughters, Shanice and Miranda Dantzler-Williams. And this family wants to know why their calls have not been answered, why the communication promise never happened, and why has justice in this case now been denied for over 2 years. Mrs. Betty Simmons, Mr. Williams, Darren and Eric Dantzler, this family, they all want to know why. And they want to know why now there hasn't been that communication. Additionally, there was a press conference last May of 2023, not last May, but May before last, 2023, 12 months after the tragedy, where the family publicly asked for an update, noting then that their frustrations with the solicitor and her failure to communicate with them was a problem. A press conference where they apparently were, once again, ignored, or better said, disrespected, because that's what that is from a public servant. That's disrespect, a paid public servant, someone who is paid to serve the public and paid by the public for that service. Disrespected again. And here we are again now, 15 months after that press conference, standing with the same people, expressing the same frustrations with someone who is paid to serve the needs of the people, someone who is paid to represent the people, someone who has never gone through what these standing here have gone through, and someone who apparently doesn't understand the added stress and frustrations survivors of violent crime go through when the lines of communication with those who are charged with seeking justice for their loved ones, those lines are shut down. And unfortunately, someone who has a record of handling her constituents in the same manner. This family continues to be devastated over the loss of their loved ones, a grief that most of us cannot comprehend. They lost 3 female members of their family on Mother's Day. One, a mother herself, and her 2 daughters on Mother's Day. And one of the daughters, this man's daughter, this woman's daughter, granddaughter, one of the daughters, 22-year-old Miranda, had just graduated from Claflin College the day before. And for those who don't know, in the black community, we celebrate 8th grade graduations and high school graduations. And we've got somebody that completes college, we rejoice. The day before, Miranda Dantzler-Williams had finished her education at Claflin University and was on her way to a lucrative career ahead of her. And the mother of Stephanie and the grandmother of Shanice and Miranda, the mother who they had celebrated that faithful Mother's Day, Mrs. Betty Simmons, who is standing right here and who we will hear from next, to the father of Shanice and Miranda, who is standing right here, and to this family, They want answers from the person who promised them open communication 2 years ago. Not last year, not yesterday, 2 years ago, but never kept that promise. The same person who was elected to represent the interests of those seeking justice through the courts in Charleston and Berkeley counties. They want answers, not avoidance, from Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the mother, Mrs. Betty Simmons, who will say a few words.
Betty Simmons, the mother of Stephanie Dantzler, the grandmother of Shanice, and Miranda Williams. We haven't heard from Scarlett Wilson. My son even called yesterday, still didn't respond. And she wanted me to, but last time we was there, she said she would send word to us and come in there. I told them no, I would be here. They never had another press conference. All we can hear now is, well, they'll call a lawyer every now and then and say, well, Emily want to go to town to see her family. Emily want to go to soccer game. Emily want to go to this place. I told them no place she can go, nowhere. But she slipped out one Christmas the first year to her family without letting anybody know. All I can do now is go to the cemetery. They can't breathe, keep it clean, keep fresh flowers on it. She can go to her family, she can hug them. They can't, nothing they can do now. They're gone. And the pain is still here. Although they send me out, nobody knows. 3 girls one time, the whole family. That was a family. And it hurts every day. It just don't go away that easy. They look at me and think I'm doing good, but no, it's all inside. I wrote a book about them that helped a little bit. And all this pain is still here. It's not going away, not even. Nobody who didn't have this happen to them would never know how I feel every day. I try to put the best on the outside, but they don't know inside. And it really hurts. And something needs to be done. Like nobody care. Going on 3 years now. Nobody responds to nothing. Can't hear from nobody. But I would like to know something from Scarlett Wilson. When of her trial, where she is, she could be out of town somewhere, I don't know. They said she wasn't a flight risk, but who knows? And her driving record, she shouldn't even have a license. Shouldn't even be in a police car. She shouldn't even have it as a weapon. That's the way I feel about it. Could be my girls, anybody else. And she just like, she's free. She could then do 2 years this time. Now it's going on 3. But I'm not going to let this sweep under the rug. I'm not going to let it go. And my son wants to speak. Here.
Good evening, Miranda Dantzler, the brother of Stephanie Dantzler, uncle of Shanice and Miranda Dantzler-Williams. Just like my mother said, it's going on like close to 3 years. When we met with Scarlett Wilson, she told us, she said we would not, if we got any problem, any question about the case, she is a phone call away. We done took about 30 or more time to call her, to contact her, and not one has we got any answer. She never did return the calls. Only time that my mother said that we hear something about them is like if Miss Emily want to go to a softball game or whatever game or vacation or something like that, they'll call to ask the lawyer. My mom will deny it, this and that. But long story short, we haven't get no justice. And it seems like they done put us on the back burner. We don't know nothing about the case. We don't even know whether the case been dropped. To be honest, we don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? All we know is we still got this pain in our heart that we lost three close family members. And it don't make no sense. I mean, where's the justice? I mean, we haven't been getting that, and it's unbelievable how she's supposed to be the head solicitor, and she leaves us with nothing. I mean, we don't know what's the thing. I mean, it just don't make no sense. I mean, like, I'm looking at like, it's 3 black females dead and gone, so they move on and left us with the pain.
Good afternoon, Eric Dantzler. to Uncle Shanice and Miranda, Stephanie, brother. And it was a long-going process. And just like my mom and my brother said, we haven't heard nothing. It's like they don't care. Just like my mom said, the pain wouldn't go away. It's been 2 years. I don't care if it's 10 years from now, 15 years from now. The pain's still gonna be there. You know, we haven't heard anything. Just like my mom said, the only time you can hear from them, they're gonna call and ask the lawyer, can she go this place? Can she go that place? I mean, where does they do that at? You understand what I'm saying? We hurt, and all we can do is go, just like my mom said, go to the grave every week. You know, want us to go to the grave, make sure it's clean every week. You know, just like they don't care. And justice needs to be served. You know, just like I said, we don't know when she go to court. We don't know anything. And Scarlett Wilson, I don't understand her secretary either, because I know she's giving her the messages, but why can't we get that? You know? And to turn it on this side, can you imagine if that my niece, Shanice, which was driving, can you imagine her run one stop sign and that happened to the officer? What y'all think would happen? You understand what I'm saying? She probably wouldn't been out, you know, no bond, every month, no bond. You understand what I'm saying? But they got to put their foot in our shoes. You know, it's got to come to a halt. You know, just like my mom said, this will never go. They might as well snatch that rug up because they can't speak nothing under the rug with us. If we got to be here every month, every year, whatever, we need some answers. You know, we brought a few pictures here. And look, 3 beautiful women. And not only did she kill those 3, Shanice and Miranda, they never had no kids or anything. How they know how their life would have been? They've been prosperous in society. You understand what I'm saying? So they killed them. They killed their seed as well. They killed half a family. But we can't get no answers, no justice.
Well, there's not much that I can say. My name is Miranda Williams, father of Shanice and Miranda. And for this day, took a whole lot for me. Something that I've lived with for the rest of my life. Just waiting for justice to be served. So I feel this father.
Before the questions come up, let me make something perfectly clear, because there would probably be a question about the legal representation that the family members have already secured. Why aren't they necessarily holding this press conference? I want to make it perfectly clear that as the solicitor for Charleston County and Berkeley County, the 9th Circuit, Scarlett Wilson is the litigator of this case. She is the one that will prosecute this case in court. To translate that into layman's terms, Scarlett Wilson is their attorney in court. And she's the one that's going to be or we hope will litigate this case. So her lack of communication is unacceptable. If she's their representation, it makes no sense. Maybe she doesn't remember what her position is. I don't know. But we're here today to remind her of her position, that she works for the citizens of Charleston County and Berkeley County. And in turn, as the chief prosecutor in this circuit, she works for this family here. What the irony in that is that every time that they pay taxes in this area, they are paying her salary. They're paying her not to represent them or communicate with them. That's an irony. And I want you all that are here to think about it, and those who might even be watching online to think about it. Think about your 3 loved ones, the ones that are closest to you, that right now, today, you can talk to, that you can call up. Not necessarily a holiday or anything, but you can call them and talk to them. You can go see them and everything. Think about getting a call. The time right now is 11:21 in the morning. Think about getting a call in 4 minutes saying those 3 that you can think of right now are no longer with us. And it was because of the negligence of anyone, but in particular a law enforcement officer. And then in the aftermath of that stressor, think about you not having any communication from the legal system that is supposed to be in place to represent you. I want you to imagine that in your hearts. In 1964, a man by the name of Paul Simon, he wrote a song called The Sound of Silence. As a matter of fact, it was part of my Sunday church message this past Sunday. And one of the lines in that song, it goes like this. It says, "Fools, said I, you do not know? Silence, like a cancer, grows." The lack of communication from Scarlett Wilson has added exponentially to the stress and the pain and the grief that this family is already going through. And stress kills. Every day that they don't have some type of communication, some type of information, knowing that justice is moving forward in the case of the death of their 3 loved ones, that's stress. And that stress, as Paul Simon said, is like cancer. It kills. It grows and it kills. And another man from that same generation, a man by the name of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said this: "There comes a time when silence is betrayal." When silence is betrayal. Solicitor Wilson's actions have further reinforced the overwhelming feelings in this family and in our community, especially in the black community, that they will not see justice under her watch. Especially when a life, or in this case, 3 lives, have been taken by a law enforcement officer. The community doesn't believe in her, and they don't trust her. And I know after 2 years of being put off by her, by this family, I'm sure that trust in her ability to execute her position as lead solicitor for the 9th Circuit, I believe that their trust has been eroded quite a bit. So she has the option to do what she hasn't done in over 2 years. And I admire Darren, I believe it was, that made the call yesterday again to her. But I would say this family doesn't need to keep calling her. She's already proven what she's not going to do. And that's return the calls. And in that many calls, she can't say she didn't get the message. And if she says that she needs to terminate her secretary, that's a viable thing to do. If your secretary isn't passing on messages, fire. I'm certain, I feel it in my heart, that after this press conference that she might give a call. And hopefully you as the media might call her and get some answers. Because right now, the situation as it stands, this family not knowing anything and not hearing anything from her from June of 2022, 27 months ago, that's unsatisfactory.
Well, to follow what you just said, literally they responded to me about 5 minutes ago and said they have been in contact with somebody, with people. Let me read the exact. It's short.
I appreciate it.
It says, sorry, I've got like 5 different things in here. Our office has been in contact with a few members of the family. Are you able to share who will be at the press conference? So basically they said they're claiming they've been in contact with a few family members.
The question that I would ask before I turn this over to the family to respond is, will they share the names of those few members that they say they contacted? Because if they don't do that, smoke and mirrors. Okay? You want You already know that answer.
Are there any other family members they could be in contact with besides you guys? That'd be kind of weird, I would think. But
No.
So the last time you've spoken with them, they make it sound like, well, there's no timeline, so I can't. We'd only be speculating.
I call my son's call. Every time they call, they tell me But she didn't respond.
She
There
never
in an area,
responded.
only two.
Obviously, you guys are leaving messages, or
Oh,
are you physically talking to another human being, or are you leaving message on answer?
Secretary.
Secretary each time?
It's a coincidence that that she takes you 5 minutes in this conference. Yeah.
Well, I did message them that I was coming, so that was. They seem interested in wanting to talk today.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Did anybody call you in? He didn't call you still there.
And it'll be the immediate family. I mean, be close, be more than family. This is tight bond.
He
with the
make
three
the call,
girls.
It ain't nobody else that she
can
can
call.
talk to besides us.
If she don't talk to us, well, she can talk to us. She
Tell
know
him, give a
anybody else in
name.
the family?
Give a name with nobody else.
Do you have designated victims attorneys?
Hmm?
So, Solicitor Wilson told me that her office has been in contact with designated victims attorneys. That's all the information I have. I was wondering if you knew what that means.
You don't know what that means.
Victim
either.
advocate, you mean?
No, no, she
No,
don't.
no, that's
Attorneys.
we got attorneys on the other side, the lawsuit side, but that's it.
And I looked at the case online, and Solicitor Sheely, not Solicitor Wilson, is listed as the prosecuting attorney. Have you had any contact with Solicitor Sheely?
No contact.
It's kind of strange how they can contact y'all, but they never can contact us with phone calls.
These names, I don't even know who they are.
And every
My
time
attorney
I
is
call,
Bush, and that's the only attorney we have.
every time I call, I'll leave my number, my mom, and my brother's number.
Nobody never called. Good if they can give a name.
I'll
pretty
I'll
sure.
ask if I'm able to talk with them.
And just like you said, Mr. Dixon and Pastor Dixon, they probably will be calling now. They said,
No,
that's not our family.
No, the lawyer. Only contact him when she wanna leave to go visit her family, go to a soccer game, go to movie, whatever she wanna go to, and I told the lawyer, once, no. Okay, but she actually don't go nowhere. She met her one time without letting us know.
If they was to call somebody, just the person to call,
Didn't call me, didn't call us, so I
us.
told, anytime he called, no, she can't go nowhere. So, we keep it that way, he let me know when they call.
If Solicitor Wilson was to talk to you today and say, we still got a long way to go to the case, how would you feel?
Feel like he wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't doing
It
nothing
was,
before.
yeah, it's
When
already
you
was
come
along
to
with
this
it.
meeting today, that's why she'll be asking questions. All that, so many days and months to contact, no contact.
You never even send anybody to talk to my mom, the advocate or anybody. But she promised he would, they promised it when they first talked to us, but none of that.
I know in previous cases I've talked with them, trying to think the best way to put it. They usually come out and say, we're still working on the case. We don't want to jeopardize the case. Do you
None of
think
that.
that?
Nothing. No sorry, no forgive, nothing. I hear nothing from nobody.
The last time we talked to her was the first time we met.
So the first time was the last time.
That was the last time.
Hmm.
The first time was the last time.
Obviously, we're talking mainly about the breakdown in communication today. But otherwise, aside from this, the solicitor's office will often talk about a backlog of cases and it taking a case a really long time to go through the court process. So I was wondering, I think maybe both instances are at play, the communication and potentially the backlog as well. Can you talk to me from your perspective? Does that mean anything to you? Do you care, or really it's just your loved ones are still not here?
No, it's the case of it could be that. But then why tell us anytime we got any questions, she's just a phone call away. So no, we don't buy that.
Not only on the top of that, if that was the case, which I don't think that is the case, but that was the case, communication is good, for anybody. You could communicate and let us know, but they're not letting us know anything, so that's really not the case. And it's not the case anyway that she's still out on bond going to see her family, doing all this other stuff. We don't know what she's doing. I mean, we don't know if she's they say she's a flight risk, but she want to catch planes.
She's not afraid of what they say.
Yeah.
How would he know that?
Yeah, exactly.
He's just saying she's not a flight risk. She never did this before. What happened? Checking the driver record. She shouldn't even have a license. Don't follow nothing you tell us. You always over speed and everything. You know, you've been through the driver record already.
You know, we figure a case like this, we can at least know who bond her out. You understand what I'm saying? On her perspective, who the bondsman, you know, when the court dates are up. You don't know anything. Because, you know, phone communication is no communication.
And the phone is not the problem. I have answer machine home. I'm there. Phone on here. If I leave home, I still have it, no communication. So that's not the problem, not reaching. Nobody just ain't reaching out.
We'll let you know who she contacted. Who she contacted.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who it is I'm communicating directly from the office, so it might not necessarily be Miss Wilson.
So what the irony once again is that here we have this communication coming out of that office where there's been no communication directly with this family, the ones who are most impacted by this loss. And it's been 27 months. Is that 27 months? What is that, 100 and some odd weeks? How many days is that? It's about 1,000 days, right? I don't even want to break it down into hours and minutes. That somebody could have just picked up the phone and said, I was thinking about you. Here's where we at in the case. We haven't moved along. We haven't gotten anything more. But we're still working. Just that simple. Don't treat our people, the people who actually she worked for, don't treat them like they're second-hand citizens or something. It's not fair. And then to listen, I'm sure from your position, to hear the contrast between what's being said here by these family members and what we just heard delivered, and I definitely appreciate your sharing that. Something, in the words of Keith Sweat, something just ain't right.
I just say, I know we use the phrase victim attorney. That's something that may have come from the solicitor's office to another media here, but you know, it's not uncommon for a victim advocate or a specific attorney to be assigned to a family, but they'd have to reach out to you, or someone who you've already met would have to communicate that to you. Are you saying that that's never even happened in 2 years?
No. Once they reach out when it first happened, that's it.
So you're not aware if there's a specific person you should be calling? No. You just keep calling who they told you you could?
No, I didn't call them before they reached out to us. They did.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, you mentioned that this lack of communication has really led to a breakdown in trust. And we know it is an election year for Solicitor Wilson. Will she have your support?
No.
Not mine, she won't.
I was trying to figure out if I was going to say anything. I didn't have to. No. From Pastor Dixon, no, she will not. And I made that decision up a long time ago. Because this is not new. This behavior is not new. The subsequent cover-up that we just got, it's not new. The putting off of victims who deserve at least the respect of those who are representing them, especially in the loss of loved ones. That disrespect is not new. So for me, I made up my mind a long time ago that I would not be supporting her.
I have a question. Just to kind of piggyback, even if there was some type of communication, I know she said that she was only one call away, but I know, like you all said, you didn't receive any communication. Even if there was some type of call in between that time from now, or multiple calls, would this be a different situation?
Oh yeah, because we know what's going and what's to look forward for, and if we have any question or any other thing we had to communication. That's all right. That.
Gotcha.
It is more like she trying her best not to talk to us for a reason, I don't know.
So, and the way that looks to the community, especially because there's a law enforcement officer involved in it, is that she is possibly maneuvering that so that the motivation, the attitude of the community, or the anger dies down, and then they can push this under the rug eventually. You know, and that's a sentiment that I've heard many times throughout our community with her, and the way that she deals with things. You know, this is the same person that with a cell phone video of law enforcement officer shooting a man in his back as he was running away could not get a conviction in court. I personally feel that she didn't want to get that conviction. That's my personal opinion. Okay, the same one who didn't prosecute another Charleston County shooting that happened out on James Island. Didn't prosecute. People back on the street. I would hope, because I have this innate desire to believe in the goodness of humanity, that she will be touched by this press conference. And not because it's an election year, that she will be touched in her heart to make a conscious decision from this day forward, never to do people in this position like that again. Never. They don't deserve that. Our community doesn't deserve that. And our community deserves better from our elected officials. Anything else?
I guess just lastly for me, you're saying the lack of communication is the big issue. We did touch on how there, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, a little bit of a backlog. Even if the news, if you were getting consistent news in the past few years, even if that news was, it's going to take years, that's simply how long it takes. Would you prefer getting that news and update as opposed to just not hearing?
Yeah,
Get
it's
it in, use what it is.
better than anything. That's right.
Because nothing, leave nothing, you don't get anything.
So I have a different opinion also about that backlog thing. It seems like the cases that they want to get through, they get through. They get through. There are cases, I don't think that the Dylan Roof case, I don't think it took that long or anything like that. You know. The cases that they want to get through, they get through. But to sit and to wait over 2 years for this case, not only is it a high profile case, but there's a ton of evidence against that individual. It's a prosecutor's delay because she has no logical excuse for what she did that night. That's the kind of case I believe that a prosecutor would want to get in court. Let's get the facts on the table. Let's let a judge hear the facts or a jury and let them make a decision on it. Not prolonging the agony that the victims have to take. When do we get to the point where we stop victimizing, re-victimizing the victims? When do we take into consideration that in the position of power, that we make it right for the people who aren't in the position of power? In 27 months, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They can move that case forward. I know her office is understaffed. I also know there's a gross discrepancy in African Americans in her office. Very small number, like one. Maybe she needs to have a little bit more diversity inside of her office ranks, somebody inside of that ranks that will speak up on behalf of people of color. I don't know, that's a side note, but thank you everyone. If there are no other questions, we really appreciate you all coming out and spending the time and allowing the family to present their pain, because that's what it is. And it's an unnecessary pain that could have been alleviated simply by the use of that thing we call telephone. We call and we text for everything else, don't we? Hi, good morning. Nice seeing you. How you doing today? Everything. We made a call to some people that we can't say who it was. But this family's been sitting all that time without one call. Unacceptable. Thank you all again so much. I really appreciate y'all coming. On behalf of the family, thank you all so very much. And we will keep you, if you all will please keep us updated if she contacts or reaches out, and we will also let you know if she in turn does what we hope that she will do, with the promise that there will be ongoing communication. She ain't gonna call no one time and that's it. We need to know. All righty, thank you all so much. I'll do it this way.
Thank you.